Kirby 64 is hands down the greatest Kirby game for the N64, and while some may say that's an unfair thing to say, considering it just kinda wins by default, those are the best kind of victories, really. And Kirby 64 provided a wonderful experience, playing as he who eats his problems away, Kirby, and the gang, who are on a quest to collect shiny things and stop dark matter, aka plot. But to mix things up, the classic copy abilities could be melded with other abilities to make super broken new abilities that made this already easy game even easier, but also really fun, so difficulty be damned. But like many games, Kirby 64 changed before its final release, like it having more playable characters and then not having those in the final version. So today on Gaming Mysteries, I'll be talking about the beta of Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards. Now, Kirby 64's life allegedly started on the 64 disk drive, until someone decided that the game actually deserved a shot at success, and thus that sinking ship was safely avoided. The game's first public showing was at E3 1999 in a very brief couple seconds of footage, although later that year at Space World, Nintendo would show off a longer version of the trailer, said trailer displaying the goodness only a Kirby game could provide, the eating and stealing enemy powers and whatnot. Which is great, though it was a notably different looking Kirby title when compared to what had been shown in years past. That game being Kirby's Air Ride, which at this point in time was in development hell and wouldn't be done with that until the GameCube was released. As such, Kirby 64 got to be the first and only Kirby game for the system. As for the differences that this trailer provides, HUDs always stand out first, at least for me, with your health being represented by half circles at the top of the HUD, your stars being represented by this slightly different functioning star thing in which you would collect 5 stars that would in turn fill up 1 full star. Filling up all 6 would result in an extra life. And an empty meter at the bottom of the screen that provides an unknown use, although I theorize that it was just a life gauge for bosses at this point in the game's development. Kirby also has 3 different transformations in the Space World trailer. One is Stone, which, as its final counterpart, transforms Kirby into a golem, although he retains the ability to jump, defying all matter of physics and gravity and all that fun stuff, which is always neat. His ice bomb combination would originally have Kirby cover himself in a large chunk of ice, and then he would explode, as opposed to the snowman in the final release. And the Stone Spark ability originally turned Kirby into a computer chip, whereas the final release has him levitating a rock using electricity, which is far more badass, a great job. And while the differences in this trailer are fascinating, what I find more so are screenshots that seem to go back to 1998, of course much earlier in the game's development. The first one worth mentioning being this one, which has Kirby going through a stage on early Popstar, nothing too out of the ordinary, until we see that the HUD is different, yet again, here featuring a portrait of Kirby, being the currently controlled character, but also of King Dedede, Waddle Dee, and Adeline, suggesting that you would be able to take control of more than just Kirby in Kirby 64, something confirmed by more screenshots in which you have people playing as these individual characters. King Dedede would be able to attack with his hammer to both break through stages and break enemies. Waddle Dee would be able to pick up enemies and throw them, something that we can see both in this image right here and in concept art, although Kirby can also do this, so it's not a unique ability, but whatever. And Adeline would draw health at enemies until they went away, then maybe got hit by something, I imagine. For whatever reason though, the concept of having 4 playable characters would be scrapped for at least the single player portion of the game, with these characters instead just being worked into Kirby sections, like hopping on the king's back to smash stuff, or riding in sleds with Waddle Dee, and getting drawed at by Adeline. Now, the portraits used for these unused characters, as well as Kirby's early portrait, can be found in this in-game image, but along with these, we have the appearance of Kirby's animal friends. What role they would have played is unknown, although them having actual portraits does suggest a tad significance. Though in the end, they would only end up making an appearance as cameos through Kirby's Stone Friends ability. Moving on, we have some unused content, such as 2 unused victory themes, and a remix of the first Animal Friends theme from Dreamland 3. And of course, no Nintendo game would be complete without some unused levels made for testing stuff. But interestingly enough, we have a cutout minigame as well, as seen here in concept art. It was to be a music-based minigame where you would play as Kirby and his sick band, with your objective to be hitting the correct button as it appears on screen, which I'm pretty sure was a minigame in one of the Mario Party games as well. So that's cool. And it's a shame we didn't get that, because I tend to like rhythm-style games. But that's more or less it for the beta of Kirby 64. And we ultimately didn't end up losing that much. More playable characters would have been cool, although I'm still not really sure how Adeline would have worked out. Though at the same time, it doesn't really feel like less of a game because of their removal. Honestly, I'm more sad about the removal of that minigame. Kirby 64 had some sick minigames. One more of those would have been nice. I'm gonna go take a nap. This has been Gaming Mysteries. Thank you for watching. Yuriofwind here, and welcome back to End Slate, where I had some people sad last time in the last video that I didn't talk much at that End Slate. In my defense, you guys, I had just read Sonic.exe 2 and didn't feel that talkative. But I'm a little better now. I've recovered from my bad story hangover, and I'm back in End Slate. Speaking of End Slate, and the video, you just saw Gaming Mysteries on the beta of Kirby 64. If you'd like to visit some websites that have information about this sort of stuff that you could read with words, perhaps you'd like to visit Unseen 64 or the Cutting Room Floor. Links in the description to those websites. You should go to the websites. Also, I hope you enjoyed the video. But now, on to End Slating. Now, last End Slate was, of course, Dark Times. And those times will continue if you didn't see the last video I did on this channel, which was a bullshit creepypasta storytime on Sonic.exe 2 Electric Boogaloo, which I made because I love you all. And then I got sick for like most of January, so that worked out great. The other two videos will be Gaming Mysteries on something and Obscure Gaming on something. Oh, and also working on more videos that I'm gonna like upload to the website and stuff for you guys to watch. Thought I'd throw that update in there. Bottom of the screen, social media stuff. Here we go. Nico did the art. You should go to Nico. Art. He has social media stuff. You should go to him. I also have social media stuff you can follow if you want. You know, the Facebook and the Twitter and the things. And as always, if you like the video and you want to like it or subscribe or share or do any of that stuff, it's greatly appreciated as it helps, but I shan't force you. Next time on End Slate, I don't know what'll happen, but it's not going to be Sonic.exe 2, so that's great. See you guys next time on End Slate.